All right, let's maybe give it one more minute, and then we can go ahead and explain what we're doing and kick it off. I don't believe we're in the presence of CrabPalace, so we'll have to talk through that one.
I know.
On our own. We'll never know
So
the backstory behind Crisp and Phillip, or which one is which.
That's the real dilemma that I posed the question to Crab. They won't answer his letters, apparently. So, unfortunate. But it is a neat game to start with, too. It's a quick little one, and yeah, it's a lot of fun to play through.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out. We're very excited to have all of you, whether you participated or just hanging out to see what everyone else got up to. But what we're going to do today is we're taking a look at, I believe, 8 of the submissions. Probably going to go, between an hour and a half, 2 hours. Feel free to duck in and out as needed. The plan is to also have a recording of this going up on YouTube at some point for people who missed it, so people can catch up on all the games afterwards and see stuff like that, as long as everyone is all right with that. So basically we're just going to go game by game. We're going to have one of the three of us, either myself, Steve-O, or Rayluaza, streaming the game on Discord. So you'll click on their little stream to opt in there, and then you can watch along, and then we'll just kind of talk through. If any of the developers are here when it is your game, you can feel free to unmute and hop in and talk about how it went, and we'll have maybe some questions. And if anyone else has questions, you can feel free. You can throw them in the MinnHax chat channel, or you can unmute yourself if the time comes, and we'll just kind of talk through and see all the games and celebrate how great everyone did, because they're all pretty awesome. So the first one we're going to go with is The Adventure of Crisp and Phillip by CrabPalace.
Yeah. Thanks for the lead-in. Sharing my screen now. Can y'all see it? And John, are you good for recording?
Yep, think we're all set.
All right. Sweet. Cool. Yeah, so this is one that was made by CrabPalace. First off, the thing that jumped out to me is I appreciate that he put it on the web. And also that you can just click, I'm out of here, and then that just closes the game, and you have to refresh it as well.
Perfect.
But we need some help. So if you click on help, this is where it just kind of talks you through the controls. And I appreciate also that these shouldn't be menu items, but they are. So I can hit that again and go back to it. And no tunes at the moment, but there will be soon. So John, I don't know if you need to adjust the volume for the recording, but also if the volume is too loud for the stream for y'all, if you right click on the stream, you can adjust the volume just for the stream without adjusting like the whole voice call volume. So let's go. So here are our buddies, Crisp and Phillip. Again, no way to know which is which. They are just the combo of Crisp and Phillip. So this nice intro area kind of just lets you experiment with stuff too. And I did notice that in the notes, Crab was very quick to point out that you make sure you want to test the slide out. And so I immediately went for the slide and the jump, because you can just slide your whole way through the rest of the game.
Yeah, when I was messing around with this one earlier, I was actually really impressed by, I think it's coming up here, the wall jumping feels better than you would think for something like this. Not to take anything away from it, just for something done in a month. Wall jumping is something I've tried to do in a game before, and it's hard to get it to feel right. And this actually felt really solid to me. I love the little animation there of the transition between upright and going up the wall there. The animations are great. The music's great. And I believe, I should probably have the page pulled up for it. I believe, according to CrabPalace, this was basically their first foray into something like this, that they had messed around with stuff. Oh, it's on the screen there. That prior experience with Unity years ago, and this was their first time with Game Maker, so it was learning a whole new thing and jumping in. They were I love that CrabPalace was super active in the chat all month, also talking about like new mechanics they're adding and things they wanted to add, and it sounds like they're still working on it, which is super cool too. I know once we get to mine, I have a million ideas for things I want to keep adding in. It's hard to cut yourself off just after a month, but
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think he had originally said that it started out as an RPG as well too, and yeah,
right.
Games change, right?
Sure. Hey, maybe
No,
you
I
can do
love
both.
it. And I know that he did the music for it as well too. And yeah, I'm a big fan of this bop that we got going. But yeah, that is the adventure of Crisp and Phillip.
Awesome job by CrabPalace.
Yeah. Cool. All right, I'll close it out, and then I think I'll toss it over to Rayluaza for the next one. So I'm closing out my stream, but
All right,
sweet.
so everyone can click over to
Resident
Ray's
Evil's
stream.
on top of it.
And now we're going to be checking out 3 Days by Jeorin, MakeItUnclear, BluMayhem, and tamekitty. Do we have any of them in the building? I see a BluMayhem. If you want to talk, feel free. If not, you can chill.
Hello, this is Jeorin.
Hey, how's it going?
Howdy.
Going pretty good.
Hey, good afternoon. This is Blue. I'm here as well.
Hey.
Howdy.
All right, awesome. So I think Ray's just gonna play through this here, and we can kind of talk through as he goes there. So what was everyone's role on the project here between the four of you?
So, Jeorin, do you want to talk about it first?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I did most of the graphics work. The sprites are taken from a free sprite pack, but I put it, all together, made the levels, and did a little bit of the scripting. tamekitty did a bulk of the scripting, and then BluMayhem wrote some of the script, and MakeItUnclear did all of the music for the game and wrote some of the script as well.
Awesome. All right. And what platform did you make this in?
So we used Unity, and
Okay.
we were all very new to Unity.
Right.
Nice.
That's cool, because we were talking about this a little bit when we were doing like a tech test before this of whether or not we can tell what platform something is made in just by looking at it. A lot of the time you can. This I would not have guessed Unity, so I don't know. That's definitely interesting that it has a pretty distinct look for something that was made in such a short amount of time. What was kind of the group's experience level going into this? Had any of you worked on anything like this before? Done a game jam before?
Hey, Jeorin, would you mind if I jump in on this one?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so personally, I have no experience with game jams or game development. I really wanted to make a game at one point, and just never, didn't have time, didn't take the effort. And then when the game jam popped up, I said, "Oh, this would be a great opportunity." I was fortunate to be paired with several people on the team that had some experience, or at a minimum had some coding experience. And so one of the things that popped up is the idea of having two different worlds, which kind of came out of Jeorin saying, "Hey, I accidentally created an all pink world by accident, which just layers over top of the game world, like what you see now." And that kind of just led me to speak up and say, "Hey, I would love to have something like that be in the game." And it just was fortuitous that was created by accident.
Very cool. So what was the idea behind the concept of the game here and fitting in with the getting better theme, if you think that it does?
So, taking the theme, which I really like the theme personally, and when I pitched the idea of the two worlds being the real world, quote unquote real world, where you interact with people, this second world, the underworld, so to speak, was you kind of fighting off your own demons. So if you have some sort of social anxiety, or if you're not used to talking to people, the idea was you would be in scenarios where you would have to either come up with the right words or kind of overcome your own anxiety. And so as you're talking to your parents and then to your professor, and then as you're moving through the game, you're getting better at playing the game. So that's the player is getting better at defeating the enemies, avoiding the enemies, getting toward a win state, and then your character is getting better having these conversations. And so that was kind of the through line in my mind, which was the player is getting better at playing the game, and then the character is getting better at having conversations.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I like all the dialogue in it as well too. It's just all this stuff here, all the stuff that's kind of taunting the player, or the talking to the professor when he was trying to make an excuse and just couldn't think of one. It's good. It's good writing.
I also I really like. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I apologize. No, we kind of split up the duties and tried to write each scenario. We had more scenarios that we wanted to do. We wanted to do a total of 7 days, but not having, we ran out of time, typical game development. But we came up with the idea of writing different scenarios. So each person wrote a different scenario so that each conversation seemed different when you interacted with it. And so we were able to come up with a pretty cohesive message, fortunately.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really like the, when you're in the combat there with multiple enemies and how the text is overlapping and it's just like everything's going on at once and it's very chaotic. That's the type of thing that it feels like it being somewhat, a shorter development cycle, and it's something where you didn't have to figure out, how do we make that text not overlap? How do we make it like pop up one message at a time or whatever? It actually works in the game's favor. You know what I mean? Like it makes it feel, more chaotic and like there's a million things going on in your head at the same time. And I really like that effect. All right.
Yeah, this is awesome. What kind of like challenges did y'all run into? What was some of the hardest stuff for you working on this?
Oh boy. Well, apart from having to learn Unity from scratch and not having coded in a while, we had a very, very difficult challenge with MakeItUnclear was in Florida during Hurricane Irma.
Oh wow.
So he was having to worry about his own health and safety while, trying to participate in this project. And he actually lost one of the songs due to like a power outage, and literally final day doing it from scratch and getting it to me at like somewhere around 6 to 8 o'clock Pacific time at night. Absolute champion for weathering the literal storm.
Yeah,
and it was. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's crazy. Yeah, that's dedication right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were really glad because we actually didn't hear from him until that Friday, I think, and then we were all excited. Oh, okay, he's fine. We were all worried about his safety before even the game. So some of the smaller things, like I could not even access the game in Unity to make changes, and Jeorin had to kind of walk me through it and was just shocked that he couldn't see it, that I couldn't see anything. And then even after I could see it, I couldn't manipulate the assets. So some of the art assets we wanted to make, I couldn't even implement for whatever reason that I'm still trying to figure out. But Jeorin, again, Jeorin and MakeItUnclear and tamekitty, they're all super talented folks that I was just very fortunate to be worked with. And I feel like it was a great experience and would love to do it again.
Very cool. Well, not to give too much away, we're hoping to do this again next year if we still have the interest. We're definitely down to keep this going because this was a super fun time. And everyone made it super easy on the organization front too. You guys were all awesome. Any last thoughts before we move on to another game there?
Thank you for setting it all up.
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much. And I wanted to talk about something very specific that people won't see when they play the game. So all of us kind of hid little references to MinnHax. Some of them are more obvious. But TK's, I want to shout this out. So in the code, when he referred to a minimum value, he actually used MINN, so min with 2 N's in the code. Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, thanks so
Cool.
much for hopping in and talking through some of that stuff. 3 days looks awesome. And as a reminder, anyone who's watching along, you can go check these out on the submissions page for the MinnHax jam on itch. So you can find that on the Discord. There's a link there, and you can go actually play all these games for yourself. So everyone go check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. And add on to that, feel free to leave comments for people too. It's always nice to throw some extra support on it too.
I mean, speaking for myself, and I assume speaking for everyone else, everyone loves hearing feedback. Everyone loves to hear that someone played their game, even if it's just the tiniest little thing like, oh, I loved this character. I loved this color that you chose for this. I love the music. Just, yeah, definitely let these guys know that they did an awesome job.
Cool. Okay, all right, so next up, we were asking, I think, is it LemonLimeBitta? Am I pronouncing that right?
That's me. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, do you want to stream through Hammer and Tongs? Is that your game? Is that right?
Or if you want one of
that's
us to
right,
do it, we can too.
Yep.
Either up to you.
You could do it, sorry. Just because I'm not working on the computer or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no
For
worries.
sure.
Um,
Okay, cool.
We can get that pulled up real quick, I think.
Rayluaza, are you good with that?
Ray's on it.
Awesome.
Thanks for squeezing me in there.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, so we are looking at Hammer and Tongs by LemonLimeBitta. Do you just want to real quick give a little overview about what your idea was for the game here?
Yeah, sure. So I was working through some projects and stuff that I'm working on at the moment, and I thought if I could isolate just a little feature for it with the inventory and crafting stuff and gathering, and then build that up for the game jam.
Very cool.
Nice.
So your idea for the whole getting better concept was kind of just the survival game loop, the classic Minecraft of mine one type of ore, level up your gear, craft the next type of gear, mine the new kind of ore, go back, level up, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and I talked to you about this as you were working on along the way too. I love how constrained it is, actually, how it's all just like this one area, everything's right where you need it to be. You click on this thing, click on the next thing, click on the next thing. And that you were very focused with what you wanted to do. You weren't also like, oh, and it's going to have combat, and it's going to have RPG stats, and it's going to have all this stuff. It's like, nope, we're just doing the crafting part, and we're going to make that really good. And I love how focused it was. I think that goes a long way, because this looks really polished too, which I think is because of the focus of the project.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and there's big colliders everywhere that stop you from actually, I don't know if you explored it at all, but you can not go very far, which was sort of intentional to make sure that, yeah, I didn't creep.
Cool. You go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I appreciate I'm spotting all the little details as well too. Like I saw the min-max errors in the UI already. I saw a Jeorin poster on the wall, something that looks suspiciously like Jeorin.
Yeah.
What kind of other fun Easter eggs did you have hiding in here?
I think that was mostly it. The arrows and the Jeorin poster. I didn't. I wish I was clever enough to use 2 ends on my minimum values, but.
Well, I saw the progress bars when you're crafting stuff as well too. I think I remember you were kind of working through that at one point throughout the month too. They look clean.
Yeah, that was something that I got some assistance with someone in the chat, and it's crazy how you see that in a game that you might play, and you're like, oh yeah, that you don't even pay attention to it at all. But it probably took me a full day to get that to work. Yeah.
Yeah, my project ended up being the same way, where the stuff I expected to be the big complicated stuff I got through fairly quickly, and then I would get stuck on how do I hide this menu and then pull the menu back out, and just little stuff like that I'd be hung up on for half a day.
For sure.
were there any new, whether it was programming or this is within Unity, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's in Unity. Yeah.
Were there any like new skills you picked up, or any like something you hadn't worked on before that you had to learn for this?
Yeah, I guess I made that little bit of music. I think I only listened to it for a little bit and I only punched out in a couple of hours, but I think it's going to get annoying after a while because it's like a 8-bar loop or something. But
right.
Yeah, so I was just playing around with that, and then I guess deep nerdy stuff. I learned about the eye enumerators and stuff, and working out how to use them. But yeah, I've only been really hobbying for using Unity, so yeah, I guess just repetition and isolating this project and just focusing on it helped to, I guess, look at all aspects of the game, and then something that it's quite funny. There's no menu because I was trying to go for the one-click side quest. So, one button side quest. So it's just left click. Everything's left click. But
right.
That meant that I forgot to do a menu to exit the game. So you're gonna have to Alt F4 out of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also find that game jams are one of the best ways to get me to focus and kind of see a project through. With like just self-motivating on like a side project, I find it really hard to keep up with it. And game jams are I mean, it's basically just emulating like homework, right? From back when I was in school, of like, you have this deadline, you have no choice but to get it done by then. So I kind of treat game jams that way, of being the motivating factor I need to actually follow through on stuff. So
Yeah, for sure. Cool.
Awesome. Do you think you're gonna keep working on this, or are you gonna take what you learned here and move on to another project, or what's your next plan?
I think I was going to extend that, but probably an entirely new project. But yeah, I was. I've got a few things in mind that I'm sort of working on, but could definitely. I'm not very clean, I guess. So I'll probably have to separate all the code out so there's no dependencies and stuff so I can reuse in other projects. But yeah, I think so.
Awesome. All right. Any last thoughts before we hop into another game here?
Yeah, just thank you for organising it and squeezing me in and stuff like that. I'm just at work at the moment. And it's Australia down under. It's early in the morning. So.
Perfect. Well, appreciate you stopping by, and we hope to see future updates from you, whether it's this game or another.
Thank you, and good work from everyone else as well.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for jumping in.
Cheers.
Okay, I
Cool.
believe next, Steve-O, you're going to be streaming this next one, is that right?
Yes, sir. I'll hop over to Better Together. I believe this one is by LJV Miranda. I don't think I see them in the chat either. But yeah, let me share my screen.
Cool.
Do you mind if I squeeze in after this one, because then I have to go, actually?
Oh, sure. Well, do you want to just do it real quick? Would that be easier for you?
I can wait. You can spin up
Okay.
this one first.
Okay, cool.
I think you were actually scheduled next after this one anyway, Tanner, so all good.
Perfect. Okay, cool. All right, we'll take a look at Better Together. Can y'all see my screen? And I think this may be a bit of a louder one as well, too. So, again,
Yes.
feel free to turn down the stream volume. But
All right, we should be all good.
cool. Can you hear it okay?
Yep. All right, so we are looking at Better Together by LJV Miranda. And I believe we're dealing with a little roguelike action here.
Indeed, and I know we are climbing a tower as well, too. I appreciate it. I kind of ran past the first person up there, but this is a little tutorial area down here. And you can see I'm playing as this little knight down here. And there are all these other knights, but it's interesting, like I can only see 2 right here, but there is a vision system in this game as well, too. So maybe a little bit hard to tell, but there's a 3rd knight as I move further down. That'll enter the vision as well, too. But it's on every step is when the attacks will fire. So the goal is to be going after these enemies without getting yourself hit with it as well, too. And then, as this person up here is talking about too, we can grab the MinnHax medallion to recruit them, but we can only hold one medallion at a time, obviously. But that's where the game gets very interesting. I know that's where LJV Miranda was interested in the getting better together theme, because now we have a buddy with us that looks just like us.
The other thing I really like about this, and I know the dev was posting about this as they worked on it too, but the vision system here, where like the kind of cone of light where you can see around corners and stuff, is super cool looking.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's really cool to see too, and just the way it plays out, and it certainly makes the game a lot more challenging and interesting as well too.
I mean, it's almost, you know, the most rogue-like in that it is like original Rogue, where you can't see past the room that you're actually in.
Nice.
It also reminds me of, if I have any tabletop people in here, in Roll20 you can do like the advanced lighting of like what your character can and can't see when you're moving your little tokens around for D&D. Yeah, super cool. I also love that it could have been, you know, easy to just make this about the combat, but I love tying in the better together concept with the recruiting the enemies to fight on your side. Gives it
well said. And
unique twist.
now we got a nice little party here. So I know the goal on each floor is to find the staircase to move on to the next floor and continue climbing the tower. So we'll see if we can find a goal. I'm not sure if they did the music for this one as well too, but yeah, fits nicely.
Yeah, let me I should probably have the pages for these pulled up so I can look at their credits. Music and audio by Subspace Audio, and then some credited art assets, it looks like too, so it looks like they've probably found some assets for stuff like that.
Right. Well, I think this was also the first submission that we had as well too.
Yeah, they submitted very early.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that they messaged you, John, and said that they were didn't have a chance to work on it the last week and submitted early.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep, and working solo on this one, so
yeah,
a lot of cool work.
Absolutely. Seems like a lot
I believe,
to get done with.
Do we know what platform this was made with?
I don't remember seeing either.
Yeah, I don't see it on here either. Oh, made with Godot. So we have
interesting. Okay.
Godot submission, which Godot's been picking up a lot of steam lately. I've been meaning to check it out, especially, you know, Unity as a company maybe making some questionable decisions in the last couple of years. A lot of people have been looking for an alternative, so I've definitely been meaning to check out some of the other ones.
Yeah, this is fascinating. I've never used Godot either. But yeah, you can see as you get to the higher floors, different enemies start to show up as well too. There's a magic user over here, which will just kind of blast you if you're in the area. But they will also guard your flank.
A lot of variety.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so this is better together, and I know you can just kind of continue climbing the tower. I believe there's 5 floors. I'm not sure if that's
well,
exactly
it's gotta be. I
5
mean,
floors.
that would be the min-max way to have 5
for sure
distinct floors.
And the Victory Lounge at the top.
That's right. Not that I've ever seen it, but I assume it's there.
But that's what I think it just kind of locks up, and I'm not sure if this is where LJV Miranda had to submit early, ran out of time for that at point too. But yep, so I think we have cleared, and we have gotten better together with all of our new buddies.
All right, very cool. Thank you to LJV Miranda. And next, we'll be moving on to German Window Simulator by Tanner.
Hey guys. Oh,
Howdy.
let's see.
Thanks. So this is a playdate submission, is that right?
Yes, it's really just a proof of concept, to be honest, because I think it was done in like somewhere in the 8 to 10 hour ballpark, and I was also I was banking on this last weekend of last month being the main work, and then I also had Hurricane Ian problems actually, but that's okay. So yeah, it's like we can talk about the technical part in a second, but the idea is just that I'm really interested in this playdate thing, and specifically the crank, of course, and I was thinking what could you do with the crank? and I thought about these windows we have in Germany. It's where I live currently, but I was coming to South Carolina for this month. That have this like drawstring thing that you pull on to open and shut the kind of like metal blinds. And I know Rayluaza said that he had a similar setup in Portugal, I believe, growing up, or currently still. Yes, the Roland. Exactly. And it's a really cool system actually, and it makes the room super dark when you pull these bad boys down. But so you pull it down, and then there's like a second level where they start to actually shut and close the cracks like that. Yeah, and that's what I wanted to simulate with the Playdate here, and I'm mostly there. But the long-term goal is to actually have, like every time you pull it up and down, there's a different scenery you're looking at through the window. That would have been the real goal here, I would say. But
yeah, and I know you posted a bit in the I think it was in the MinnHax Game Jam channel about how difficult you found using was it the pulp is the one you didn't like?
Yeah, we can talk about it. So it's I use pulp, which is and maybe it's even worth pulling this up in a separate tab because there's not so much to see here, just out of curiosity. But pulp is a kind of a web tool to build these little games, like the light version. And that was big for me because I have no game dev experience, and like what I fear more than anything is like graphic generation. So with this tool, you can kind of just like click on squares to toggle the black or white color and build out pixel art that way. But what they also comes with is their own scripting language they made called PulpScript. And I would guess that whenever someone makes a unique language like this, it's going to be very strict because, I mean, they aren't programming language developers. They have a day job that's other stuff. So it was a little frustrating, I guess, in a way. For the programmers out there, the biggest thing that I hated was just that you can't do compound conditionals. So you can't say, like, if the blind is below the top of the screen and above the top of the screen, do this. So it's a bunch of nested if statements, and that's like the one thing you're told as an early programmer not to do, pretty much. So I think I am interested in kind of continuing this. I think what I would do is take it over to their actual SDK and write it in Lua, which is what they have their full games written in normally. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. I think, if nothing else, it's a little curio for like, oh yeah, Playdate. The novelty of that at least gets me something for this very basic concept.
Hey, it's by far the most complicated Playdate game that we got submitted to this game jam. So, no, that's super cool. That's good to know too. I think I'm fingers crossed. I got an email the other day. I think I'm finally getting my Playdate. Now like a full year after the hype has died down. Yeah. So, I haven't looked at any of the dev stuff yet, but I really want to once I actually have the thing. So that's good to know. Maybe just avoid the simple version and go right into the real thing.
Yeah, it's either for the full thing. It's either Lua or C. I think you can write it in.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome.
I'm in group 3 too. I'm fingers crossed we get it.
Yeah, I've never even touched the thing, so I'm excited.
Yep.
Any final notes?
No, thanks for doing it. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it was very cool to get a Playdate submission. I was very excited about that as well too.
Yeah, definitely legitimizes the game jam more to have a big variety. And we have a ton of engines here. We have Unity, Game Maker, and Unreal, Godot, Playdate, tabletop games. Yeah, super exciting.
I got 2 tabletop submissions that we'll check out in the next showcase as well too. So yeah. Okay, all right, we'll move on over to It Consumes then.
All right.
Is that's MildlyRaven? Was this one yours?
Yeah, this one's mine.
Nice.
Very cool.
Let's see. Let me share my screen. Cool. Okay. Can y'all see in here?
Yep.
Yeah, this one was awesome to see throughout the month. I know you were kind of posting GIFs or little videos as you were working along with it too, and it's just such a fascinating look. Like even just seeing it in video and playing it is a blast too. But yeah, so it was really cool to see it come apart.
I was very concerned it was not gonna come together into anything cohesive at the end. So like I want to at least show what I'm working on so that people know I had something.
Yeah, and I think I would have to go back and count, but I think you have posted in that text channel more than literally anyone else. I think even including me. So that's awesome to see people using that and giving updates along the way. That was my favorite part of seeing people's progression through the month as they're learning and iterating. So
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right.
And even before we get started, thank you for adding colorblind friendly options in there. I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. That was the other thing I was worried about, was that people are just gonna literally not be able to see what's going on.
But yeah, so I'm reviewing the controls myself because I know this is a complicated one too. I know myself and Rayluaza had tried to play it. I don't think either of us were able to get past the second level, or maybe the third level.
Okay.
But do you want to talk about your process, like how you came upon this idea, or what were your thoughts about this?
So it's actually an idea I had like a long time ago, but I could never get it to work right. So when I first started learning how to make games a couple years ago, I'm not an artist. I don't know how to really make anything look very good. So my idea was, well, if I can just find something that can a single shader can wash over everything, then I don't have to spend too much time on visuals.
I love it.
But I was trying all these really complicated ways, and I gave up on it a few months ago because I just couldn't get it to work. And then when I saw this game jam and that it was a month long, I might actually be able to just take one more crack at it, sit down, try a couple different techniques that I didn't try before, and I was able to find a pretty easy one actually, where like really all this is in kind of like top-down games where when you like click on your character, it'll have like a little ring highlighting that they're selected. It's basically the exact same as that, except I'm just scaling it up over time, and then it just covers everything in front of you.
Interesting.
And so once I got that down, it was like, okay, that it works. It won't cause any huge technical problems, and now I can just throw weird stuff in the game that you can shoot at.
That's fascinating.
It's interesting when you have it kind of split up like that. I had the same sort of setup where the graphical challenges I was having for my game are almost completely separate from the game itself. So I spent like the first week and a half just working on the quote-unquote art for it, or like the getting that system working, and then being like, oh god, I have to make the game still, and then transitioning to that and having it be completely separate like that.
Yeah, and that's what I was, I didn't want to, this was kind of like, I was like, all right, I'm going to revisit this idea once. If I can't get it working in a month, then I know, all right, just put this on the shelf forever. But it worked out well.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, that's a great use of a game jam, right? That's the idea behind it. So I'm glad you made it work out for you.
Yeah, and this is also my first time ever actually like finishing a project, and like I've been messing around with game stuff for a couple years, and this is now actually something I can show people, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I absolutely love it. Even just in
thank you.
screenshots. This is kind of the first that I've seen it in motion. I was trying to keep myself pure before the showcase here, so I could be reacting to things for the first time. But even just seeing screenshots along the way, or the little videos you would post during the month, I was like, oh my god, this thing has such a cool look to it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to talk about the sound and audio and stuff? I mean, how did you land on this? Is this
Sound was actually, I think the hardest part of this was sound. It's a mix of things that's like some sound packs I just already had. For anyone who doesn't know, there's this sound like store called Sonus, but every year for GDC they put out like 10 gigs of free professional sounds. So if you just Google Sonus GDC sound effects, like there's just a lifetime supply of free sounds you can get from there. And so I used a lot of those for this, but then also a bit of my own like processing on stuff. So like a lot of like the weird tentacle sounds are actually stuff like sounds of rock slides from like
very
free
crunchy.
Foley sounds. Yeah. And then just like putting a ton of reverb on it and just making it sound as weird as I possibly can.
That's awesome.
But
We'll have to add that sound library to the resources if it's not already on there.
Yeah, it's really, really good. But sound actually gave me a huge problem towards the end of the project, where, had that realization that, if you can just hear everything all at once, it's like this overwhelming cacophony of madness. And so I had to spend kind of like the last several days just figuring out how to get it to not how you can actually tell where things are in the world, but not have everything bombarding you all at once. And that meant I had to kind of put some of the min-max stuff I had planned aside. Like I was going to do leaderboards being like the 2 10s, would track your 10 best scores and your 10 worst scores. But I had to, scrap the whole score system because timelines, game jams, etc.
Right. No, that's perfect. Yeah, you're talking about the sound again too, and the kind of positional audio that I feel like it came together very well, because I don't know if it comes clear on a stream, but in me wearing headphones right now, that made a huge difference. Like the first time I tried it, I was just using speakers on my computer, and then I said, nope, I need to grab headphones for this game. So I think that's a job well done.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Cool.
Any last thoughts?
No, just thanks again for putting this together. It was a lot of fun.
I actually do have one last question for you. Have you played Hyper Demon yet as a Devil Daggers fan?
Yeah, that was very strange to have that come out in the middle of making this.
Yeah, we were talking about that while we were setting up here, about how funny that was. That it was one of those things that keeps happening. That's like, well, it's been a couple of years since Devil Daggers. Someone's gonna have to make another one, and then right when you do, there's another.
Yeah, I was like, oh, perfect. People will be like desperate to play something like that. No one's made another game like that.
Yeah, I've been meaning to.
But yeah, Hyper Demon's pretty cool.
Right. Sorry to interrupt. Is it okay if I throw out a question?
Please.
Absolutely.
I was just wondering, I know you were talking about procedural animation, ThatsMildlyRaven. You were using that because I think you said you weren't super confident in just standard animation. I'd be interested to hear some of that, because that sounds like the animation on the tentacles is just amazing.
Oh, well, I can't really take too much credit for it. It's basically just using kind of existing inverse kinematics packages within Unity.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
So essentially, it's just like a basic IK chain that you would use for like a walk animation or something, but I kind of just flipped it around so the other end of the chain is like the end of the tentacle. Mm-hmm. So it's just whenever the ball that it's attached to moves, it kind of just flops around.
That's so cool.
What are tentacles but just backwards legs?
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's just such a solid animation, especially like when it moves into that attack. It just feels very fluid.
Yeah, it made it really easy, because you kind of just, once you got it working once, then you can just stick a tentacle on whatever you want, and it will move according to whatever it's attached to, and it just kind of looks perfect on its own. It felt like cheating, honestly.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool.
Very cool.
Awesome. Well, thanks for talking through it.
Yeah, thanks again.
All right. I think I'm next,
I'll
right?
toss it over to Rayluaza. Or no, I guess this is Killslayer now, right?
That's right.
Perfect.
All right.
Are you good to share your screen still?
Yes. Let me.
Yeah. I know you're juggling the recording as well.
Yeah, I think I just showed my whole desktop on the recording. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. I think this is the one I'm looking for. All right. And I think this is right. Everyone let me know if you can see it. You don't have to worry about hearing it, because I did not get to audio. I did not listen to my own advice in the last week there. All right. So what we're looking at here is Random Acts of Justice. It is a superhero management sim where you hire people like Freak Kid or Steam Lady or Angel Avatar. Oh, this looks alright, actually.
Yeah, I don't want to make you go past Angel Avatar, but I know this is what you were posting throughout the whole month too, just all of the awesome creations. And it sounds like you put a lot of time into this character creator, and it really shows.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
That's what I was talking about with the last one, where it was, the first week and a half, I was still just like, oh, but what if I added like a hockey mask? What if I added a skull mask? What if I added capes? Oh my god, wings and capes. That was a whole 2 days on its own to figure out how to put the accessory behind the character if it was a wing or a cape, and put it in front. Otherwise, it was a whole nightmare. Yeah, and then had to cut myself off at some point. I could have just kept adding hairstyles and accessories and logos and everything forever, but I had to cut myself off and actually make the game, which we'll get to in a second here. I'm going to try to hire one more person. Crush Lad's too expensive. Arc Vamp.
How did you land on the name generator as well, too? I mean, did you type in two separate parts and kind of tie them together in different ways, or did you find something online to generate these?
No, so I made it all myself, and I was bugging all my friends and coworkers and everything at all times to give suggestions. But basically what it's doing is it's picking from 3 different styles of name. It's either prefix, noun, suffix, or just 2 nouns smashed together. So like Arc Vamp is 2 nouns smashed together. I think Angel Avatar is probably also just 2 nouns. But then there would be some, like, if you want, like, Mr. Angel, that would be a prefix and a noun. And it's picking from a list of a couple hundred in each category, so there's pretty good variety there.
Yeah, awesome. And then same kind of thing about the traits, too. I don't mean to distract you, so sorry. Go
No,
ahead.
you're good.
The traits are the other part that I was curious about.
Yeah, so the perks, I made a spreadsheet and started listing those out, and I took some suggestions from the MinnHax chat, too, but there are a lot of them that I didn't get to. By the end of it, I think there are 49 perks in the game that are working, and then I had to cut a couple others. So basically what we're doing here is when these events pop up around the city, you are taking people from your roster, assigning them to one of 3 slots, and hitting go. And then as time progresses, it'll kind of do some calculations behind the scene and decide if you succeeded, which we did, which is awesome. So they're each going to get some XP. They're both going to be available for missions again. We also got a little alert that because that was a specific locate, although I think that's a bug where I had 2 of them flipped, but it's supposed to be because of a specific location you get a bonus, or because of a specific type of event you get a bonus, or, you know, things like that, which is what most of the perks do. But basically all you're trying to do is you're managing the city approval, you're managing your money, because at the end of each day you have to pay your roster of characters. You're managing their energy. They can't be sent on missions if they're too tired. And you're managing their happiness. If their happiness drops to 0, they just quit. So it's basically what I want to do is just make a management sim about superheroes with no combat or anything. Just, okay, well that went really poorly because Arc Vamp got injured. You can see by the little cast here.
The broken leg.
And we also did not get very much XP, and we didn't get any of the money because we failed the mission. City approval went down, happiness went down. His happiness went way down because he also broke his leg. So we're struggling. Let's go ahead and hire someone else to pick up the slack while he's out. Axe Soldier's not bad. Sidekick gives you double XP when you're on a team with someone else. Sure.
Did you have trouble balancing all of the perks as well?
Oh, this game isn't balanced. Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Did I have trouble balancing? No, because I didn't. It's so easy to get into a fail state right at the beginning, just based on, like, the one thing that I would really like to change is that the difficulty of the missions doesn't care how far into the game you are. It's completely random right now. So basically, you could just start a game, get 2 characters, have only level 3 missions, all your guys get injured, and you just lose right away.
Sure.
And that, obviously, if this was a full release and not just a little quick game jam proof of concept, that would be something to work on, is the balance of all of that. I am pretty happy with, besides the difficulty of missions, I'm pretty happy with, like, the meter management as it stands right now, with the way, like, different meters interact with each other, too. Like, when city approval is down, you're below half, your character's happiness will go down faster as well. Your character's happiness is both based on how they do on their missions, but also residually based on how everyone else is doing on their missions. So there's some cool interactions there that I'm pretty happy with.
Yeah, that's fascinating to hear, because a lot of that stuff is obviously behind the scenes, where it makes the game work and feel organic, but stuff that you wouldn't immediately recognize either. So very cool.
Yeah, it's almost all behind the scenes, which that would be a decision to make too if, again, this was like a bigger release of, do I do XCOM style % chance of succeeding on a mission, or do I just leave it completely behind the scenes, which I kind of like it being behind the scenes,
right,
because it feels a little chaotic and stupid, which I think matches kind of the tone of the game, just based on, like, the characters and the dumb names and stuff. I think it's funnier. My favorite funny thing that would happen is, again, all behind the scenes, the different event types will have different effects on you, and they'll take different stats into account and all that. So like this one's a disaster. I think disaster only takes into account charisma and durability, I believe. So it'll be different combinations of stats based on what type it is. But I don't tell the player that. It's just you kind of have to think about what would make sense. And the funny thing with that is the different event types also have different injury chances. Meaning that like disaster is, I think, the highest chance of injury, and then attacks, and then crimes, and then PR has the lowest injury chance, but it's not 0. So it's very funny when you send someone out on a mission that's a PR mission and they come back injured.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. I know we already mentioned it, but just seeing your progress throughout the month in the channel as well too, and just like all of the hilarious things that you posted, and then also after it was done, like some of the other people had posted. It might have been Complimentary Water, maybe they had posted like some of their exploits that they ran into. Yeah, it seems like a very good story generator, if you will.
Yeah, and that's my favorite thing, is just hearing from people after, like just having friends sending me screenshots of like, Swordhead keeps getting injured, this sucks. And me being like, Swordhead, that's a good one. Yeah, I even I just made a version on my phone that isn't the full game, but just the character generator on my phone, so I could bring it to work and just like flip through them and show my coworkers, which was a lot of fun. We have a running joke now where we keep including the name Crime Baby in stuff that we're working on, because Crime Baby was our favorite randomly generated name from this. Yeah, it was a ton of fun to work on, and I have, you know, post-its and post-its and post-its of ideas of things I either want to fix or add or whatever. So I'm definitely going to keep poking at it here and there, but take a little break, you know, without the deadline for a bit.
That's awesome.
And
yeah,
like I mentioned, did not get to any sound effects or anything or music or, you know, that would be a good thing to have at some point probably.
Just broken legs. That's all that's needed.
Yep. Oh, we need a good like leg breaking sound now that you mentioned, or just like a Wilhelm scream when they get injured. Maybe that'd be good.
I appreciate the I don't know, clock management up at the top too, where you can pause and fast forward through things
Sims
as well too.
style. This, oh my, speaking of, I think I talked a little bit earlier about how sometimes the most minor things can be the most annoying to get working. Getting this to display as fake hours and minutes that I can then manipulate to be faster or slower was such a pain. To make it show up as, you know, like once it gets to 60 it ticks over, and once it gets to 24 it ticks over, because you just have to, I did all of that myself. I'm sure I could have found like a hours and minutes plugin, but I liked doing everything from scratch if I can, especially for game jams, so I can learn something from it. But yeah, a bunch of weird, dumb math to get it to stop at 60 and then be something that you can also increase the speed of, but it still, you know, ticks over at 60 rather than at 100. That stuff was a nightmare. Oh, we had a fun bug here where she's just floating there.
Just guarding the town. I get it.
That's right.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's always fascinating to hear about, like you said, what stuff seems like it'll be a huge thing, and then you get it done in half a day, or stuff that seems simple, and then you beat your head against it for 2 or 3 days. It's always interesting to hear about that.
Yeah, like some of them, like entire systems, like the happiness system, I was worried because I still hadn't done it in like the last week. And I set aside like a whole night for it. I'm like, okay, next 4 hours I need to get the happiness system working. And it just kind of worked right away. It's stuff like that. Yeah, it's hard to predict. But this was super fun to work on. I knew as soon as I signed up to organize this thing, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from also participating, just because I love game jams. That's like all I did in college on weekends was, what's the game jam going on this weekend? Let's make something, throw it on the App Store. Yeah, so I think that's about it, unless anyone has any questions or anything.
Yeah, thank you for showing it, John.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay. All right, we can move on to Buffy the Champ Spire Slayer. I'll stream that one for us. I know this was, I think, a team of devs. Do we have anybody on the call who wants to talk through it?
Yeah, I'm here. I think I'm the only person from the team who could be available today.
Gotcha. Sorry about that, but glad you made it.
Yeah. Well, let me be the first to say that I'm probably the last person who should be presenting this game because the other 3 members put in so much more than I did. They're all super talented. The other 3 members are snugglebus, D's butts, and floating orb.
Awesome. And what were everyone's roles on the team, if you don't mind running through that real quick?
So D's butts and snugglebus were kind of, I think, engaged as like the programmers. I was supposed to be audio and sound, and floating orb was like our tech wizard. And yeah, so I meant to just do sound, but I ended up trying to like actually contribute to the programming of the game, which was
That's
really
awesome.
difficult.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
it was super hard.
Game jams are the perfect place for that too, right? You're just kind of picking up and learning from other people too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so.
Can y'all hear it then as well too?
Yep. I think we're all set.
Just making sure. Good stuff.
Oh, and we need to hear this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I'll press escape for a moment just to look at the how to play. Kind of in a weird spot right there.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
You'll
you can
have to
kind of
push this.
talk through it more as well, RadioUhOh. But what y'all's thoughts behind it were. But as you do these actions, John and I kind of recognize it called back to Skyrim or other Elder Scrolls games too, where you'll level up these actions as you do them, right?
That's exactly where the first idea came from.
Okay,
We
cool.
were pitching ideas, and I think it was these butts who was like, something I really liked was in Oblivion when jumping levels up your jumping, and so it makes it a game where you're just jumping all the time.
It's so good.
And we're thinking it's so ridiculous. Like, wouldn't it be fun if we had a game that does that?
And as
then
I
we
continue to
applied
jump,
that to
I
other things.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, we did it for like shouting, for pushing. So the more you do the thing, the better you get at it. So that's the getting better of the game.
Absolutely. And I didn't want to shout over you, but I'll demonstrate the shout now.
Yeah.
And as you continue to shout more, your head gets bigger, talking reaches level 2, and there are more lines, such as... that's so great. And as I think Rayluaza played this one before I did, and he said, make sure to spam E the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny that we built these these levels, assuming that somebody would be maybe reaching like shouting level 5 by the end of the game. And what we're finding is people are just spamming E the whole time and reaching level 5 like in the first level.
Yeah.
That's so perfect. And the character, like the body parts, level up alongside with the levels too.
It's so good. Yeah, the
got
different
level
body
4
parts.
thighs.
The different body
Yeah.
parts getting bigger based on what thing you're leveling up is so good.
That was Floating Orb's idea. Like, really touch of genius there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love also the trivia tower elevator noise. Going to the next floor.
Yeah.
That's a great touch.
Was that one of the goals? Was to sneak in Trivia Tower sounds?
I think Trivia Tower in general was one of the side quests. Yeah, to make a game referencing Trivia Tower.
Oh, okay. And then that's the other action that you could take, which is shooting. You
Uh-huh.
shoot an object out of your body.
And it happens to be the Trek to Shrek Janet at the moment.
That's right.
It's so good. And of course your hand gets bigger as you shoot as well too. Just one of them.
Just one of them, yeah.
Yeah,
I think that was unintentional, but then everyone was like, "No,
Oh,
leave it that
it's
way.
better. It's
chaotic."
better. Yeah, it's like the Everlong video with just the big slapping hands. Everyone knows that one.
I think you figured it out that you have to shout to break down the door.
Yeah, and I don't think I realized that when I was playing through it earlier either.
Because you were
That's so
just
great.
shouting anyway.
I was like, oh look, the door's already broken.
That was Floating Orb who implemented that. It's basically a Fusro Da, and it's kind of a shame we didn't have more chances to implement it.
Sure.
So the puzzle here is you have to walk on the rolling ball and roll
Okay,
it to
yeah.
the other end.
Well, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about as well too. Is when I was playing it earlier, I didn't catch on to that, and I solved it a different way. So I just love that there are so many different ways that you can solve stuff in here in this physics-based thing. Like I think I had jumping at a higher level, but I just jump on top of the whale, and then just jump right up.
It's basically an immersive sim.
Thank you. Tame Kitty knew what I was talking about with the giant Everlong video slapping hand in the Discord chat.
That's awesome.
I'm not crazy.
Everybody else is just politely nodding.
I gotta ask, is it the stream or is the camera like wigging out on you?
It's not bad. Maybe I'm moving the mouse around too fast, and it's probably just a poor internet on my part. I'm sorry about that. Is it
It's okay.
looking okay now?
It's looking funny when it pans.
Yeah, it's a little choppy, but
Oh, bummer.
everyone at home can go again on the itch submission page. You can go there and download all these. Check them out for yourself too. So
Yes.
you can get the
Please do.
full resolution, crispy frame rate version.
Absolutely. Because yes, that's definitely on my end then, because it looks fantastic over here. Yeah, I mean, just like even just the look in general, all the lighting, of course. But I think this was done in Unreal. Is that right?
Yeah, this is Unreal, so a lot of fancy things right out of the box.
Right.
Sure.
The like the reflections are ridiculous in Unreal right off the bat.
I'm sure.
At first they were, but then what's his name? Snugglebus worked on it quite a bit, and he did mostly the art in the game actually.
Gotcha.
And like final day, he was like, "Oh, by the way, I fixed all the reflections, so now it's this nice kind of fuzzy reflection. It looks great."
Awesome. Yeah.
And was this
textures.
Was this anyone in the group's first time working in Unreal?
Yeah, mine.
Awesome. Yeah. What did you think of it?
I think some of the others too, maybe their first time, but they had worked in other software and were like much better at the catching on. But I found it challenging as a newbie. For example, I like somebody was saying, I think for the last game, it's the smallest things that you think will take like 10 minutes, and then you spend the whole day on it.
Right.
A nice, clever workaround there.
And that's what I was saying earlier is with the other puzzle. I don't know if I've solved any puzzle in the correct way in this game, but I'd love that you don't have to.
It's not an exploit, it's creativity.
That's correct, exactly.
Yeah, we left it in on purpose. This one might be a challenge, though. I think this one you got to do it the proper way. You got to push the red box through that little door and then onto the button.
And then
so if you stay on the button, then it
got
makes
it.
a pusher come out.
And stepping it over there to the.
Oh, close.
Uh-oh. I might have to move it back around a little bit. There we go. Let's try it again. But yeah, absolutely. So I think you're right. I mean, you're right. You made the game in terms of how to solve the puzzle too. But again, I think when I was playing it earlier, I think this is about where I had called it. But as you level up your shooting, there's another. I like the next level of the shooting.
Oh yeah.
There it goes flying. But
the giant.
We have our beautiful MinnHax UI now.
Oh, that landed perfectly.
And as obviously as y'all had intended it, the shooting can just make bigger and bigger objects. So I think I had somehow landed it so that the MinnHax arrows were sitting right around this point on the stairs, and then just jumped on top of them and then jumped across it that way as well too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's
I tried so hard to do that.
Giving players access to their own terrain generation is always going to make designing puzzles more difficult.
Yeah. I think like some of the people who were designing the puzzles at the end were like, "Why did I make this like really complicated puzzle? I have to like publish this on Sunday."
Well, that's what I was gonna ask about next as well too. Is I wasn't sure if you were involved in any of the puzzle design, but it's always fascinating to me trying to design puzzles for a game, especially for a game jam in a short time frame. I'm sure, but do you know if that was a challenge for everybody in that?
I think Snugglebus and these butts worked together a lot and kind of taught each other like things and like how to make an interesting puzzle that, well, that it's a little bit broken right now.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a game jam. I'll
Yeah.
solve it my other way then.
It was just like we'd come in one day and these butts was like, okay, I have a prototype for a puzzle. Oh, nice aim there.
Well done.
You can frame it that way.
And some of the later puzzles are pretty cool too. So there's some where you have to use the shooting to hit a bunch of buttons on the walls.
Okay.
There's some where you're dropping a bunch of blocks onto a giant button to get to the 5th floor.
That's awesome.
And then once you get to the 5th floor, there's a little celebration. There is an ending.
Of course,
That's all I'll say.
the Champions Lounge. Awesome. Do you see yourself working in Unreal more now that you kind of got your feet wet with it?
Yeah, I kind of liked some of the audio stuff that was in there. I wish I had more time to learn it, but trying to learn how to make stuff sound good, you know, reverb and all that. I could learn a thing or two from It Consumes. That game sounds amazing.
Yeah.
The one that we saw a couple of games ago.
Yeah, and I mean
Oh, thanks. That's very nice. Yeah.
The game jam chat might slow down a little bit, but there's always just the general community dev and coding chat as well. You can, feel free to ask questions there. We got a bunch of people in there that'll jump in and help you out too.
Yeah, already the tip from the developer. Sorry, I don't remember where it consumes. The GDC free sound effects. That's super helpful. Oh, thanks for that. See, we're done the game jam and we're still learning things.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll try to find a link for that, and I'll just throw it in the chat right now.
Very cool. Thank you.
Great idea.
Yeah. Would you go as far as to say that we're getting better?
In the game? I think your hands are already as big as they can get.
Perfect. I can open all the jars now.
Anybody who plays this, do spam E until you get to the final voice line, and try to reach the end because they put in some really cool stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I know. I've soft blocked myself, but I'll keep shooting and leveling up the jump to get past as well, like I had done the last time I played. But yeah, I guess we can probably move on to the next game soon. But exactly what you said, absolutely go back and check this one out too, because like you just mentioned, there's a lot of really cool stuff later on.
And like we were talking about, there's a bunch of different ways to get through it too, which is fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for showcasing it.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank y'all. Okay. Cool. All right. I'll hop out.
All right, and I believe we're jumping into one last game here, and Rayluaza will be presenting it because Rayluaza worked on it. So we are looking at. You can maybe correct my pronunciation. Small talk. Got it. Small talk.
I'm gonna be the one talking about it. Yeah, it's small talk.
Awesome.
Yeah,
do you want to real quick
thanks.
run through team members and what everyone worked on?
Me, nHedron, Ray, and RobBobWill. RobBobWill did pretty much everything that you would have to do in Unity, except for like updating models and like textures and stuff like that. I did the models and textures, and Ray did the concept art and stuff like that. And we all came up with ideas together, and RobBobWill also did the music and most of the writing. Me and Ray did little like item descriptions here and there, but that's about it.
Awesome. All right, we can go ahead and start hopping through here then.
Yeah. So like the concept of the game overall is just to get all your shopping done for the week with a small amount of money that you have, and you have to make small talk with the store clerks to make things more affordable, things like that. You can do that by like complimenting the quality of the stuff, or like politely pointing out flaws that you can find in the item. Well, some of the item descriptions. But if like you're rude to them, then they'll hike the price up, stuff like that. And so yeah, you're encouraged to inspect the items and read up on current events. We'll see that later. But the basic idea for the entire game was brought about because of some in-game Morrowind book called The Buying Game by Abigail Timsar Daddison. RobBobWill was a fan of it, so we decided to go with that. And then visually we we were inspired by Mega Man, which you'll see later on in the concept art. So yeah, so as you can see here in the concept art, it was originally medieval themed, and it was about like a knight buying better equipment, better armor, things like that, and it was heavier on QTEs, and we kind of abandoned that, and we moved into like a more modern setting. And look right there, Mega Man.
Nice.
In our concept, we just used it as a reference. Just trying to figure it out. And so yeah, the modern setting now, it's implied. It's not implied anywhere in the game, but it was implied in what we were talking about. The main character's parents are visiting, and we're just trying to spruce up our apartment with stuff and like fill up our fridge and things like that. So that's the goal. And we were originally gonna have the apartment as a hub, but time ran out of time.
Sure.
So yeah, and so these are the some concept art like that. That's Ray's original Clerks, and we had some feedback. We had an idea I thought there was a serious idea for pigs, so I thought we were gonna do pigs. I was confused by the humans, so he went ahead and made pigs, and then we went. I also wanted them to be older. Because we had talked about how like these were failed stores. They had failed with other stores before, like the Clerks. So made them older. And then there's a bunch of ideas. There we got an old arcade repurposed. Can keep going, right? Right. Yeah, that's them all. And yeah, and then just UI ideas, things like that.
Cool. All right. Why don't we hop in here?
Yeah. Oh, so here is what we were talking about. Like, you're encouraged to like read up on things. There's like these are like little grocery weekly, whatever. These are like current events, and the idea, at least, it ended up not so much being happening in practice, but the idea is that you read this, and so you kind of get an idea of how to, what kinds of things to bring up to the Clerks that might affect the price. Maybe in the full game, in the actual game, that didn't pan out as much, but that's the idea is there, so that's why we have this going on. So we go in here. We're in the mall. Let's see. So we're gonna go up to stuff. So there's our shopping list. So our goal is just to get these items for the day, right? We have a limited amount of money for the week. Every day of the week we go in and we're just trying to get these items. They're randomly generated. Someone mentioned roguelike, and I don't know, random stuff. You go up to things and you get your options. You got your options of like bantering. You can check the price. You can inspect things, and you can buy. Bantering is how you go about influencing like the prices by like these hygiene products smell great. I don't know, like maybe the clerk wants you to compliment the stuff. See, that's irrelevant, so I don't think that would cause anything to happen, the knitting option. But the other one might get you lower prices. What else? You can check the price. Oh yeah, the price reflects like any discounts that you've haggled into or whatever, or anything that you might have said that like it increased the price. So that's what it's the price that you're seeing. And inspection is how you can inspect certain items. Some of the items are just kind of like flavor text for the inspections, but other items will give you like hints. As like, for example, if you go to the fruit, some of the fruits might have mold. So if you see mold and you start to banter with the clerk and say like, hey, there's mold here, it might bring the price down. But if you do that and there's no mold there, then they'll probably hike the price out of spite. So, and then just buy the stuff, and you can buy everything if you want, but then you'll run out of money and you won't be able to get things. You won't be able to beat the game. So yeah, and so in this store we should be able to get all the items. You just kind of have to like go around and look around. Get yourself a little beer there. Fill your fridge with beer. Fill your fridge with chips. Refrigerate your chips.
I love the like abstracted product logos and stuff. How you can still tell what everything is, even though it's not words and it's just very simple logos and stuff. It all looks really cool.
Well, that's on Ray. Great job, Ray.
Yeah, there's so much of it too. That's the other part that's fascinating to me too.
It's like any one of these, you can look at it and know what product it's supposed to represent, which is super cool.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you on behalf of Ray. So we have a TV here, which is you're not gonna get in the general store because this is mostly foods and alcohol and snacks and stuff. So we have to go upstairs, not using the elevator because it's an elevator and that involves a lot of programming. So we go upstairs.
You'd have to ask the last team how they
Right.
got their elevator to work. Do a little collab.
Right. So we have a little store here, a little what do you call it? Like a salvage electronics store, and you just find yourself the correct item. Worth pointing out for some of these things, like the blue phone. You might pick the wrong blue phone if you pick the wrong blue phone. It looks exactly the same on the icon. If you pick the wrong one, yeah, go to the other one. This happens for a couple of items. You know, things get overlooked. It happens.
Game jams.
If you click on something and you buy it and it doesn't get a little check mark in this little shopping list, then go look for another one. It's somewhere.
Wow, that was a great deal on that TV.
Yeah.
How much was it?
I think
How much was it?
I think we only had like 200, so it was like a $20. Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Oh, there we go.
$12.99 for a TV.
Yeah, I was asking Ray, not you. Sorry. I was asking Ray to go up to the TV and check the price. But yeah, and actually, the shopkeepers were original. Oh, hey, look at that! Hey, we got a random pop. Sweet. Okay, hey. So originally we had an idea of having the shopkeepers sometimes asking you questions or whatever, and you get an opportunity, just like when you're bantering, to get a lower price, pretty much, like by getting on their good side, or getting on their bad side, or staying neutral, whatever. Mm-hmm. But as often as they should, and we went through a lot of playthroughs and it just didn't pop up. So, you know, so you might get it, you might not. But yeah, that's about it in terms of what the game is and stuff. Any like dev-like questions I think should be directed towards RobBobWill, because I was mostly just modeling and texturing everything. So
well, hey, it looks great.
Oh well, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and if anyone has questions about any of these, I'm sure all the devs would like to hear from you. Again, you can comment on the. That's great. You can comment on the submissions on itch. I'm sure you could also just at people in the MinnHax Game Jam channel, and I'm sure devs are happy to answer questions when they have time for it. But yeah, this looks awesome. I really love really nailed the Mega Man Legends art style, and even like the music kind of feels like it too.
Good job, RobBobWill.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thanks.
There's a very cohesive feel to all of it too. Exactly.
Well, thank you.
All right. Any final thoughts from y'all?
I think. Are you talking about games in general, or just this one?
This one, but then after this one, it will be the overall version of that question. So either way.
It's very charming. I said this earlier when we were just testing stuff, but like there is a Zelda-esque cadence to the music a little that is just giving me so many vibes.
Yeah, I feel like I should be rolling through pots right now. All right, well, thanks so much. Small talk.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I think with that, we're going to be closing out this first showcase here. We are planning to have a second showcase in the coming weeks. We still need to nail down a time for that, but that's going to be including Jeffem Quest, Tunnel Puzzle, Spoon by Spoon, Orphean, Subpoena the Dead, a MinnMax Better Quest one-shot, and Trivia Tower Getting Better Edition. So we'll be hitting all of those next time, and we hope to see all of you again then. Otherwise, thanks so much everyone for coming out. This was a ton of fun. I know I had a ton of fun working on this and seeing everyone's progress over the months, and it was awesome to see what everyone came up with at the end and kind of just the variety of everything. We had really a wild variance between what types of games people were making just based off of the same prompt, which is super cool.
Yeah. I just want to say everybody as well, good job with everything. It was my first game jam, and that was fun. I did a TTRPG, so it was different, obviously. But it's just congratulations to everybody for getting it done. And also, like, a huge thank you to our organizers, because they kept this train moving, and I had to do very little, which I appreciate.
But we appreciate everything that you did, so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, this has been awesome. Like I said, I'm super excited about the turnout. That was very cool to see how many people, and like John said, it'd be interesting to see how many people actually showed up in total as well, rather than just the 15 submissions. But yeah, it's been awesome to see the variety. And like you said, I was curious, like as we were working on our game, which we'll look at next time, I was curious if everybody else was doing similar stuff, different stuff too. And I know we were seeing some stuff throughout the month in the channel. But yeah, it was just fascinating to see all of the different ways that people approach it. So all the different engines, all the different 2 tabletop RPGs, it's awesome. So thanks everybody.
So, if I understand correctly, the itch.io page will persist, correct? So people can check it out at their own pace?
That'll be a historical archive. Anyone can go back and check that out. And then, 8 years from now, when we're running, MinnHax 8, we'll be able to look back with nostalgia and remember our humble beginnings. So that'll be awesome.
All right, and then if I also am correct, this has been recorded to a degree.
Yes. So that'll be up on YouTube at some point. I'll be posting that on the Discord as well once it's up there. But it should just be a new YouTube channel called MinnHax Game Jam, where we'll archive this and also the next showcase as well. So we'll have a complete look there.
And I'm so looking forward to the second half of this. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for coming out, everyone, and we will see you next time.